Wait a minute, that's not right. It's Tiffy time, unless Bailey, or Naya, has something to say about it. DIY looks to put A-Town down for good, and the Bloodline says they're powerful, hungry, and aggressive. Okay! And the news! Let's get started with a review of SmackDown from Worcester, Massachusetts, and the hometown boy Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. DIY, the new tag team champions, took a rematch against A-Town Down Under. So let's get started with that one. Gargano had a great sequence with a Bulldog DDT combo move on both men and then hit a springboard spear. But A-Town Down Under came back strong with Waller hitting a rolling flatliner. But they got a little bit too full of themselves trying to meet Ciampa in the middle, and they missed and kicked each other instead. Then Waller yet again took out Theory by kneeing him accidentally. This gave DIY the opportunity to hit Waller with a shatter machine and then meet him in the middle to get the win and retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. For DIY, this is of course their first defense of the title, as they did win just last week. And they've won 4 out of 5 and are 5-3-1 in traditional tag matches. For A-Town Down Under, they fall below 500 in traditional tags at 3-4. But this was not quite the end, as Theory and Waller began arguing after the match for losing yet again, and out of nowhere, Jacob Fatu ran down the ramp, landing a devastating elbow to the back of Theory. This caused Waller to run away as per usual, leaving Theory to lay on the ground by himself, but Fatu turned his attention to DIY and looked awfully impressive, showing off both power and athleticism, landing a super kick, 2 Samoan drops, an Arabian press moonsault, and a mighty moonsault to take out both members of DIY. Only at that point did the Bloodline come out to call out Cody Rhodes to make him acknowledge them. But Rhodes would not do so. Instead, confirmed that he would have a championship match against Sikoa at SummerSlam. But Rhodes said that he did not want to wait until SummerSlam and would prefer to do it right here, right now, which was not very smart, as the 4 Bloodline members surrounded him in the ring. So, fearing for his safety, Rhodes swung at Sikoa, but then he was quickly overwhelmed by all 4 members of the Bloodline, which caused Randy Orton to come out to try to help, which he did admirably for a short while before he too was then overwhelmed. Which then the Bloodline tied Rhodes up in between the ropes and made him watch as Orton got dismantled, being thrown into the steel stairs and then triple powerbombed through the announce table. Sikoa then finished it off by hitting a Samoan spike onto Rhodes as he was still in the ropes to end the show. And as he said earlier in the night, Sikoa has shown that this version of the Bloodline is a more powerful, hungrier, and more aggressive version than whoever that other guy used to be trying to lead the Bloodline. We also had another men's tag team match with Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews tagging for the first time against Legado del Fantasma's Angel and Berto. And Corbin and Crews actually had some fun early on, and before the match even started, as Angel and Berto were still heading to the ring, we had Corbin help Crews throw himself over the ropes and onto Angel and Berto. Then, once the match started, they reversed roles with Crews throwing Corbin over the ropes to land on both men. Crews was actually the star of this match, landing a triple German suplex and also showing off his power with a gorilla press. But Legado del Fantasma did their usual shenanigans with Elektra distracting the referee that allowed Escobar to go into the ring and land a jumping knee on Cruz, leading immediately to Garza hitting the wing clipper to get the win. And for Legado del Fantasma, they are back to 500 in traditional tags at 3-3, while Cruz and Corbin fall to 0-1. On the women's side, we had Tiffany Stratton kick off the show, declaring that it is now Tiffy time after winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. And she told all 3 women's champions to look out. This caused Bayley to then come out and said that Tiffy would be the first woman to fail cashing in if she went after her, but then Nia joined the party and said that she will be taking Bayley's title in 3 weeks at SummerSlam. Well, Nia couldn't help herself and gave a one-finger push to Bayley that caused Bayley to then try to swing at Nia, but Tiffy blocked the attempt, and then both of them double-teamed Bayley until Michin was able to come out with a kendo stick, just like last week, and stop both of them. Well, we did eventually have a match between Nia and Michin, and Nia was able to mostly dominate this one, but after Michin was able to get in a few nice shots, Tiffy distracted the ref and left a kendo stick on the apron for Nia to grab. But after she did, this gave an opening to Michin to recover, land a dropkick, and then a nice tornado DDT off of the top rope. But Nia quickly recovered, hit a Samoan drop and an Annihilator to get the win. Inexplicably, however, Bayley then just decided to attack Nia from behind, causing Tiffy to hit Bayley with the briefcase from behind, and those two then overwhelmed Bayley, leaving her laying in the middle of the ring. As Nia and Tiffy then left the ring, Tiffy could not help but to stare at Bayley laying there for the easy opportunity to cash in the briefcase. And she even went back to the ref and almost did when Nia turned around and stopped her from doing so. So we'll see how this partnership can be maintained as Tiffany keeps looking to try to cash in. For the match itself, Nia improves to a very impressive 9-3 in one-on-one action, while Michin stays winless at 0-6. Lastly, we had one other women's match between Naomi and Blair Davenport, and Blair tried to work on Naomi's injured left shoulder that she apparently hurt during the Money in the Bank ladder match. But this did not quite work out for Blair, as Naomi hit a nice jumping knee and then her modified head scissors driver to get the win. Naomi goes back above 500 in one-on-one action at 4-3-2, while Blair falls to 0-2 in singles action, losing both matches to Naomi. Well, maybe Blair and Michin can have a match here soon, so at least one of them can get into the win column. With that, let's go beyond the mat for SmackDown. Carmelo Hayes rudely interrupted Andrade's interview with Byron Saxton, so much so that Andrade was annoyed and said that Hayes would be his next competitor. Chelsea now wearing a neck brace after taking that brutal fall through 2 tables off the top of a ladder during the Money in the Bank ladder match. She and Piper waited outside Nick Aldis's office all night hoping to speak to him. Hilariously enough though, Aldis was not even there. However, why would Aldis not be there? He only has to work 1 day a week, so you think he could show up for it. That said, LA Knight somehow was able to go into the office and get his contract for a United States title match against Logan Paul at SummerSlam. However, Paul was not there and has not yet signed the contract himself, so I bet we will see some drama with Paul before he just so freely decides to sign that thing. Lastly, Randy Orton caught up with Cody Rhodes in the locker room, saying that he would have Rhodes' back against the Bloodline. And then after he was done handling Bloodline business, he was certain that there would be many men looking to go after Rhodes for the title. And Orton, being the gracious man that he always is, he said that he would have Rhodes back in that situation as well. Apparently, Orton is just happy with his 13 world titles and will not turn on Cody and go after him. So very magnanimous of the Viper. With that, let's go to this week's STF. And in this week's STFs, we, as usual, have to start with the Bloodline edition. First, Jacob Fatu hit Austin Theory from behind after his match against DIY, and then Fatu absolutely destroyed DIY, showing off why he is the Samoan werewolf. So for that attack, he will pick up a 1-week suspension. But the Bloodline, of course, was not done, as they eventually attacked Cody Rhodes after Rhodes practically asked for it, saying he didn't want to wait until SummerSlam, which caused the Bloodline to surround him, and then Rhodes took matters into his own hands by swinging at Sikoa first. At that point, both Orton and Rhodes were overwhelmed to end the show. So for that, we're going to have to give Rhodes a fine for instigating this one, but all 4 members of the Bloodline will have to get a 1-week suspension. To kick off the show, we saw Nia give a one-fingered push to Bayley, which caused Bayley to get a little upset and escalated by trying to swing at Nia. However, Tiffy was right there to catch Bayley's arm, and then it led to a brawl with all 4 of them, including Michin, breaking it up with a kendo stick. However, since this one could kind of go either way, we're going to give fines to both Nia and Bayley. But we were not done there, as after Nia won the match and was celebrating, Bayley inexplicably just came up behind Nia and attacked her in the back. But Tiffy came to Nia's rescue, hitting Bayley with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Well, for that, Bayley paid both physically and also in the pocketbook, as she will get a fine for instigating. We saw Baron Corbin help Apollo Crews, throwing him over the top rope and onto Angel and Berto before the bell, so Crews and Corbin will have to get a fine for that attack. But the match itself ended after Elektra distracted the referee, allowing Escobar to go into the ring and land a jumping knee to allow Garza to hit a wing clipper to get the win. For their shenanigans, Elektra and Escobar are getting a 1-week suspension each. Lastly, Blair Davenport shook Naomi's hand, saying that Naomi was the better competitor. But she had an ulterior motive, and after walking away, she turned right back around and shoved Naomi to the ground in the back. So for that, Blair will also pick up a 1-week suspension. DIY is off to a good start, taking down A-Town Down Under 2 weeks in a row. But Tiffy and Nia may not be on the same page with Tiffy's intentions for the Money in the Bank briefcase. But the Bloodline is on the same page, as they look stronger and more vicious than ever before. I'm Doktor O'Kay, reporting on the WWE, where everything is okay.